Hello. So, welcome to this second episode of the Factora industry webinars. Um, in case you didn't watch the first one, just a very brief introduction to why we're doing this, what this all about. So, Factora is an initiative we launched last year from Open Nebula Systems, coordinated by Open Nebula Systems through the IPSI Cloud. We launched this initiative as an effort to start integrating different components and different technologies that were being built under the IPSI Cloud that were relevant for AI. And gradually, we are transforming that into an effort to define an alternative stack, a sovereign stack for Europe when it comes to managing AI infrastructures and deploying AI services. So we thought it was actually, you will confirm to us or not by watching this video till the end, but and other videos. But we thought it was a good idea to help you also in discover some of the technologies and these very cool projects that have, have been born in Europe and are developing in Europe. And we thought it would be also an interesting exercise for you to know the kind of technologies and companies that we are mapping and in the progress of in this process of defining a European sovereign stack for AI. Today we are bringing to you one of these. It's not a secret, but it's actually very cool, super cool to have this kind of company flourishing in Europe. A company that has its headquarters in Hamburg, a German company that's actually doing very interesting stuff on federated learning and distributed AI. So today we are bringing to you Flower. As I said, it was for us also a very was really amazing to come across them several months ago and get to know more about the kind of work they are doing in many different sectors, including telcos. But we thought it's a really interesting framework that many people would be interested to know more about, and we're sure in coming projects and in coming deployments in Europe in AI factories and other environments, this is the kind of technology that would be really useful for people that are looking at how to launch these federated learning processes and how to manage data closer to the devices, but also how to do things like fine tuning using technologies and infrastructure from different sources. So today we wanted to bring you Flower as this example of European open source for federated learning specifically, and also to get to know more about the company behind it. So Flower Labs. So today, welcoming William as a solutions engineer at Flower Labs.
Thank you
Hello,
very
William.
much. Thank you very much, Alberto.
Well, you're joining us from New York, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right. We have a global team, and a lot of us sit in Germany and the UK. But we also have some presence in the US and other parts of the world as well.
great, perfect. A bit like yeah, in our case as well. I mean, it's a natural step also for European companies to go to the North American market. So it makes perfect sense from our side as well. I think many of the European open source companies that we come across, they follow this same pattern of expanding with users and customers in Europe, but also in North America. So it's nice. Um, so I have many questions for you. We have around 20 minutes or so, but I wanted to start with the first question. So a bit about to know more about how Flower Labs emerged as a European open source company, because we know it's not easy sometimes. It takes a lot of effort and willingness to keep things running in a context where maybe there companies are not so used sometimes to use open source or to contribute to open source projects. So what's specifically your experience from Flower Labs? How it's why the company was created? What are the expectations you have in the market?
Right. Yeah. So I think, I mean, the best people to ask that probably have more insights are the co-founders themselves. So we have three co-founders, but I have been working actively with the company since almost 2 years at this point. And before that, I was looking into the open source framework that Flower Labs was providing, which is Flower, which is available on GitHub, that everyone can go and check out. And from what I understand, it started as a research project between the co-founders. So the co-founders are Daniel, Tanner, and Nick. Nick is a professor at University of Cambridge in the UK. And I think all of them were sort of working together on these sort of topics, and it resulted in a research project, an open source framework, which has come to be Flower, what it is today. And I think this started around 2020, so 6 years ago, and it's been actively been built on since then by both us, the people working at Flower Labs, but also a lot of people from the open source community have been contributing with, resolving certain things that needs to be dealt with, opening pull requests and adding features and so on. So it's been really a community effort, and it is, I think we have 7,000 GitHub stars. A lot of people cite us in open source research projects and just in industry practices as well. So we try to accumulate all the learnings from all of these projects that are going on at this point.
Well, that's great. We will talk about a bit more later about the specifically your relationship with European projects, research and innovation actions, and all that, because I'm also very interested to know how you've been participating, if you've been participating in these projects, how your experience has been. But I think people watching this video probably really want to see now is, what are we talking about? Show us some stuff. So, William, floor is yours for you to do a presentation of the amazing technology you are producing.
Sure. Let me pull it up here. So we actually had a summit, a Flower AI summit a month ago. Basically, we host it every year, so once every year, and it takes place in London usually. And part of this is taken from the keynote that our CEO Daniel was talking about there. So it's really recent stuff, I would say, and this is about what we build at the moment, but also a bit about how we come to think about federated AI with Flower specifically. So we think the next frontier, you can read the title. But if you look at the history of AI, when you want to scale AI, it's basically been about three components. It's the model, the compute, and the data. And over the past 10, 15 years, it's been a lot about scaling the size of the model and just adding a lot of compute. And at this point, we're scraping all of the data that is publicly available on the internet, which means that we have sort of hit a plateau. You could think of it as that. And if you were to visualize this in an illustrative way, you can think of the open source text-based data that the current state-of-the-art models are currently training on is around 15 trillion tokens. We think that there's a massive opportunity hidden behind, not regulatory environments per se, but could also be company walls, things like that. That is qualitative data, and this is a much bigger opportunity here. And we're talking in the realm of 2,000 trillion tokens compared to the publicly available data, which is 15 trillion. So just to put that into perspective, it's a massive opportunity. So you can think of this as the used opportunity at this point, and we know that the current state-of-the-art models are very good, but we think that with the unused opportunity, we can even get to like the next level when it comes to this. And this is, if you want to put this into perspective, it's somewhere between 100 to 150 times more quality sort of data that we could train on. So this is where we see a big opportunity. Nevertheless, this is not really accurate, because this looks like, okay, all of the 2,000 trillion tokens are centralized in a way, that we can access them. But it looks more like this. And in the past couple of years, it's been more about scaling your node. But I think that at Flower Labs, we think of this as collaboration has to happen. So we're moving right now from isolation to collaboration. And this is what federated AI is all about, where you sort of use knowledge from various data silos. So we think that the next frontier is collaboration here. And this is what we work on when it comes to Flower Labs. So if you think of it in an historical way, centralized data has been about expanding your node, sending data to a centralized node where you do the compute, fine-tuning, training of the models that you have at hand. But decentralized AI and federated AI, what we build here at Flower, is sort of putting it into the opposite perspective. Basically, you want the data to stay local. You keep the raw data from where it originates, and you send out the model to be trained at the site, and then it shares some of the updates back to, let's say, a server where those updates can be aggregated. So the raw data never leaves the site itself, which is great for, this is companies like that, because they don't need to really worry about data being moved to other places. You can think of it like healthcare being moved from raw data being moved from one country to another country, let's say blood values, images, whatever it is. And this is what federated AI can enable. You leave the data where it originates, basically. And Flower is the infrastructure for that. We've been building it, so you can see what Flower is on our open source GitHub repository. It's Flower. It's very easy to find, and this is what we are actively building. And these are just some of the statistics that we're very proud of. So at this point, we have around 7,000 people in our channels communicating with us, asking questions, closing in on 7,000 GitHub stars. We know of 2,500 open source projects that are currently building on Flower, and we have closing in on 200 active contributors as well. So yeah, and we host events all throughout the year. And these are just some of the organizations that we are working with, just to give you a bit of an overview at this point. Now, when we before I conclude, I want to talk about three things that we're actively building here to sort of continue riding the wave of decentralized AI. One is an AI platform, and one is a frontier training pipeline, and then also agents, which is something that everyone is talking about right now. If you just look quickly at the AI platform, which we think of the building block number one, this is Flower Supergrid. This is what we currently are able to provide on top of the already open source framework, which is Flower. So this is a service that people can use very easily. It fits very well into organizations and enterprises. You can connect this with what we already have, which is Flower Hub, which contains verified apps from the community. And these are out-of-the-box apps that you can just plug and play with if you want to use it for financial data or medical data. These are apps that you can just take and plug it into your system, and they can be verified by us and other users as well. And there are some success stories already on the Supergrid. We launched it as a test service back in September 2025, but people have already signed up and running their systems on top of it. So it's available today. And if anyone wants to sign up, this is the QR code, but you can find it on our website, which is flower.ai. The second block is the training stack, where we, during our AI summit, we talked about the years of research that we've been building on, and it has resulted in our first state-of-the-art large language model, which is Lizzie 7 billion or 7B. And this is our first large language model that we provide. It's available on Hugging Face as of today. And this one was built for the UK. So you can think of it as a way of trying to reduce grammatical errors for both grammatical and systematic errors that exist in the English language between the UK and other countries that speak the same language. So there are various things that are spelled differently or used differently, and Lizzie 7B is there to fix that. And this is a European state-of-the-art model, and it plays on the sovereignty topic that we are actively working on as well. you can work with this. It's on Hugging Face, and you can check it out if you want to take a look at it. And the last one is, of course, the AI agents that we're actively working on right now. And this is an effort for us to try to build agents that are working in a collaborative way and not in silos themselves. So basically orchestrating everything. And this is currently being worked on. So if you want to work with us on this, you can, Supergrid is the way to do so. And it's a project that is currently running, and we are working with early stage partners on this as well. So you can expect more in 2026. And yeah, that's everything I had to show. I hope I'm on time, and we can, take it from here.
That was perfect, William. Thank you very much for that quick intro. I think people watching this will agree that you're doing really, really, really nice stuff. I mean, I love this thing about let's see, you put it very diplomatically. This use for working with between the UK and other countries, English-speaking countries. Right? I mean, there's this old saying that the countries that are separated by a common language, in this case.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a pain for many people. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could think of it. There might be same things in Spanish, for example, between Latin America and Spain here in Europe. Yeah, for example.
Well, internally in our case, for instance, that we have teams in Europe that are more familiar with British English and then American English, and we're always fighting each other about the right spelling here. No, that's nice. Actually, I mean, I came across. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about this kind of Flower Tune LLM, because I saw that several months ago, and it really caught my eye because it looks like very interesting. And for many, I mean, we put a lot of emphasis in Europe, for instance, at EU level on providing the infrastructure and the resources for companies to be able to train large language models. But then the approach you guys took was very pragmatic, right? So let's use this kind of distributed infrastructure for things like fine tuning, which is what most industries might need beyond inference, obviously. So how was the experience with that approach?
I mean, I should start by saying that we try to make Flower as modular as possible, which means that it's supposed to be able to run on any type of hardware at this point, or like we try to roll it out across different sort of vendors. So there's no vendor lock-in when it comes to let's say AMD or Intel hardware. You could run Flower on top of it, and also in secure ways as well. For Flower Tune specifically, this is an effort. You can think of it as a leaderboard. So we have a leaderboard on our website that shows models trained or fine-tuned in a distributed fashion. So you can take it across different nodes or different compute, and then train it on acknowledged data sets to show, or you fine-tune it and you show, okay, what's the increase in performance when I, in a distributed way, fine-tune it rather than centralizing all of the data and then do some post-training or fine-tuning to get to the right. So you take an European initiative, you could do so across all the European nation states without having to move to one central location where you aggregate and agree on, okay, now we have to do this. You could just leave data where it is. And it works across 4 different tracks. So it is general natural language processing, coding tasks, healthcare, and finance. And we do have results. So you can see right now which one is the leading model when it comes to this. And these are models that are either trained here, like in Europe or in the US or in Asia, wherever it is. And you can see what the models are currently performing at.
Okay, that's great. No, I think the approach is really, really good, because we know that, I mean, everyone suffers this scarcity of GPU servers, for instance. Even from our side, for instance, when we try to provision resources in different locations, and I think it makes a lot of sense, specifically for the fine tuning, where the expectation is that it will happen in not in the HPC environments or the AI factories necessarily, but also in or mainly on European cloud service providers infrastructure. that you are able to manage this in a federated multi-vendor way, multi-provider way, because of that. Because sometimes you go for the resources on the GPU, you need them at some point, and they're simply not available because they are sold out. So I think it's really interesting that you guys are supporting this, because I think that's at least the very near future, or the present, is that we need this diversity. Yeah, no, that's actually very nice.
Definitely, yeah.
And also telcos, right? I mean, you guys have been working with telco operators, and the expectation for them is that they will support inference at the edge, but also to some extent also fine tuning in a distributed fashion.
Yeah, so we try to build out. We have SDKs or software development kits for iOS and Android, which allows you to run on like literally edge devices themselves, and also the communication between like one node and a server. We have engineers working on making that as lightweight as possible so that you can use it. For example, it doesn't have to be only telcos, could be automotive as well. It's fairly not similar, but sort of in the same realm. You could think of it, where there are moving vehicles and they have connectivity issues at times. So we're open to working with any industry. Of course, the most prevalent one historically has been medical because of the nature of patient data and they being very sensitive. But we see a lot in finance, in energy, in automotive, in telco at this point. Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, we see that also many of the use cases where most of the investment is doing now in innovation in this area. They assume that these are the sectors that are going to be leading at least the demand, but also the supply of these resources, but the demand for this kind of computing in its resources, in its devices.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, speaking of innovation and research, my next question for you was precisely around that. So, how has been the experience of your company, Forward Labs, in European projects, for instance? If you guys have participated in any of the EU programs, Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, this kind of thing. So, what has been your
Yeah, so I was trying to look into the archive because I haven't been here from the beginning, but it's I know that we worked with partners that are EU funded projects. I'm not sure exactly to what degree, but for example, Synthema is one of them that we worked closely with. It's they have been presenting at our AI summit now for at least 2 years, from what I know. Then we do run our own pilot program, which is a very lightweight way of us collaborating with both academic and industry partners, where there's if someone has an idea that they might require our expertise for, they can just submit the idea, and that can sometimes be in could be that they're already working in an EU funded project. So actively, right now I'm not sure if we're part of any. I need to double check, but this is we try to be open to as many projects as possible. Of course, it's always subject to what's our workload at this point, and can we take this on? Because it does require some some administrative functions and things like that. But yeah, we do have a lightweight, or we do have a company that runs with as much as we can on the partner projects that we already have. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, there's always discussions about how to make it easier also for companies like Flower Labs and others that are producing very nice technologies that could benefit other companies in these projects, but also how to make sure that it's reasonably easy for a company with this profile to benefit from these resources and these programs, right? But it's always challenging. It's very challenging sometimes. That sometimes you focus a lot on developing stuff, testing, and publishing new versions, and doing nice pilots, and like you said, right, setting up your own program, kind of internal corporate program for this kind of innovation.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
So,
yeah, it's nice.
sometimes like a subcontractor position has been the easiest option.
Yeah.
It really it like depends, and then if that specific initiative has allowed for that, then
Yeah.
it has made our lives easier at times. But I mean, we always open to listen into the conversation and see what's going on.
No, let's hope. I mean, there's a new policy, open source policy in the making at the EU level. So let's hope that also brings some kind of new ways to facilitate that companies like Flower Labs can participate in these programs, because I think
Right.
they have a lot of interesting assets to contribute with. No, that's good. We will put that on the to-do list for the people from the commission that's watching this eventually. So well, we've talked before a bit on the sovereignty aspect. You've mentioned that, and that's actually my final question to you. Could be a personal opinion if you want. So, how do you understand this current debate? What's your perspective coming from a company that's based in Europe, born in Europe, producing open source technologies, and with customers globally? How did you see all these debates about technological sovereignty, or specifically European technological sovereignty, and the role of open source? How do you understand that? Sometimes it might sound like sometimes it might come as a conflict for many people, but how do you see that specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I should preface by saying that these are my personal opinions, but I think we think of open source as an essential component to our operation. So we are actively pushing new features and new development to Flower, the open source GitHub repository that everyone can go and check out. And this, in my opinion, builds a lot of trust, because people can always actively investigate what is actually going on under the hood if they wanted to. Then, of course, we do provide services on top of it to make people's lives easier. If they don't want to, like you could build your own systems on top of it, but if you want a solution that works, that is secure, that is modular, and maybe comes with some nice elements to it, then you can use that. For sovereignty specifically, I think this plays on our view a bit like collaboration is key and is the next frontier. I still think that it's important that you keep certain industries that are maybe very security focused, like defense, maybe to a certain degree healthcare. Like some of the data is maybe not good to send elsewhere. I think there I would be personally very wary of what I export, but you could. I like the phrase like think global, act local. You want local domain knowledge to the people that you're serving with your product, but we live in a global world, so you do need to be at least open to certain ideas coming from elsewhere, and maybe also services. But at the same time, I think it's good that we I know that Europe has a lot of talent and a lot of knowledge, and it's probably a good idea to motivate people to serve their countries a lot, and focus on building really good tech within the countries that they are currently living in as well.
But to stay in Europe, right? Because that's sometimes the challenge, yeah. Because
I mean, but it's
I mean, also
there are a lot of
companies
smart people in Europe, so yeah.
And that's one of the challenges. Yes, I mean, it's always good to see companies that decide to, despite their success in the market, they decide to stay in Europe.
Yeah, and there are a lot of interesting companies there. I mean, you can follow the ones that are also here in America, but I also like to follow the ones from my home country, which is Sweden. You have a lot of interesting companies coming out of there as well, in Germany, in Spain, in France, in all of the other countries as well. So yeah.
I think we will. The challenge in that sense is that when a company grows too much, just to make sure that they feel they kind of stay in Europe, right? That they have access to what they need to keep growing, or to they didn't feel the need to move away. I mean, that's I guess that's the main.
Yeah, that's important to foster a culture of entrepreneurship and like making it easy for people to use their ideas and build on it.
But what about the your community? You think? I mean, you get contributions and interest from universities and academics, and also from Europe in an active way. They see this as also as part of their duties, let's say, to give back to the project when they use it.
All the time. I think my LinkedIn is filled with messages from people from academia specifically, and we do like right now I'm based in New York, so we do work with universities around here as well. But the people that are based in Europe, I mean, we come from a research background, and a lot of the people that have that are working right now in our team are researchers from, let's say, University of Cambridge, or people that have been I was previously at Technical University of Munich, and there are some people there that, so we really try to work with academia when we can. A lot of it is done in our Slack channels where people might have questions that they ask us, but then also if people come with contributions to our GitHub repository, we actively look into it and try to make sure that it follows the right syntax, and we can create examples and new features out of it.
Okay, that's great. Nice. Good. I think it's in our case, similar experience coming from academia back in the day and from research. But I think that's one of the most interesting things that we find in the open source environment in Europe, is this kind of very close relationship with many universities with very, very great talent, as you mentioned before, and they actively see that the benefits of contributing actively back to the projects.
That's right.
Or some projects directly coming out of research groups and people in university. So yeah. Okay, William, I think that was a very nice catch up with you. But what you guys are doing at Flower Labs and the latest novelties in the product. So, well, first of all, congratulations for having such a nice technology and for the company you guys keep in Germany. And
thank you very much for inviting us here. It's been great, and let's continue the conversation. If anyone has questions, just look me up on LinkedIn or join our Slack. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us.
Great. No, we will circulate this also with all the links, the documentation, the repo, and everything, so people can actually get some first-hand experience on the tech.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you, William.
Thank you very much.
Go for breakfast now, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
And then from my side, just thank you everyone for joining and for watching this short session today. And just a quick reminder that we're producing this content in collaboration with a couple of EU-funded projects to coordination and support actions. NexusForum on the one hand, under the Horizon Europe program, and then also the CISERO project, or the IPSAI Cloud Exploitation Office, through the Digital Europe program. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode of this series. Bye bye.